Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you the exact process we used to add over 31K in additional revenue to this eComm brand in just 30 days. So let's dive right into it. So as you can see, the additional revenue allowed them to spend more money on ads and scale their brand way faster. So if you've been wondering what's the piece of the puzzle that you're missing to see that rapid growth that the fastest growing eComm brands such as Dr. Squatch, Brez, Viori, etc. see, it's in this video, so make sure you pay attention. Now, first of all, let me walk you through the actual importance of email marketing. So email marketing has probably become the most important channel for acquiring and keeping customers. So I'm explaining to you why. The reason for that is that we've entered something I like to call the trust recession. Basically, customers are way more cautious on what they spend their money, unlike during COVID. So during COVID, you could just run ads to your website and you're going to make money. You're like guaranteed to make money because customers were just spending money here, there. Everyone was growing their eComm brand. But nowadays, it's like not enough anymore to just run ads to your website and the money starts falling out of the sky. It's not going to happen. Actually, it's a completely different game. So it's a completely different opposite spectrum, right? And what's even worse is the fact that the ad costs are actually higher, right? So your ads are more expensive, but they are less efficient. So if you want to implement what I'm about to show you, you'll have a marketing channel that you completely own, that no one, even Zach, can shut down, and a marketing channel that allows you to nurture the customers into their first purchase as well as sell them over and over again, which will massively increase their lifetime value. So this is basically the secret to scaling your your eComm brand. So by doing this, you'll have way more money that you can spend on your ads, which means that you'll get more traffic to your website, which means that you'll grow your email list even more, which means that you'll sell to more people. As you can see, it's a snowball effect. It compounds and your growth becomes exponential. So here's a little bit about me. Follow me on socials if you want to post. I'm posting their daily email marketing content. Now here's the results. So as you can see, 31.369K, okay? 33% of their total store revenue in just 30 days. And this was growing even more and is still growing. So here, you can actually see that they made less money even with this. This is because of the time, because Q4 just ended, Black Friday, Christmas, Cyber Monday, all that. So we actually managed to offset some of that downside that they would have. So step one, pop-up form. This brand had an existing list, I'll admit that to you already, since they were doing email marketing by themselves in the past, but they were not consistent at all. It's probably like been weeks since they sent like their last email before we took over their email marketing. But regardless of whether you have an existing list or you need to build it from scratch, the first thing you need to set up is pop-up form, okay? This is the number one thing. This is the oxygen of your business. If your list isn't growing, it's dying and it has to stop. You need a high converting pop-up form, because if you don't have a pop-up form that converts at least 10%, but ideally 10% and more of your website visitors, your funnel is basically like a leaky bucket. So you're spending all of this money on the ads, but not many people are actually buying right from the ad right now, because that's the time we live in, as I said, the trust recession. So instead, with a pop-up form, you could capture some of those people and then slowly nurture them into purchase. But since you don't have a high converting pop-up form, you can't do that. So people come to your website, a little bit of them buy, most of them leave, and that's it. You don't contact them ever again. You maybe run some retargeting ads, but that's it. So I have a full guide on my channel how to do this as a beginner. It's probably going to pop up right now, so you can check that out after this video. Now, the pop-up form setup. These 7 essentials. So first of all, you have to give a good offer. It's over for the pop-up forms like join the newsletter to stay updated and all that crap. It's 2025. People want some value. Like other competitors of yours are offering great offers, so you have to do the same. X dollars off, X% off, all of that stuff, like free shipping maybe, free guide in some cases, maybe even like buy I don't know, products over $150 and get a free product, something like that. Number 2, eliminate all the unnecessary copy. So your pop-up form should ideally be your offer, the email input, and the CTA. That's it. There shouldn't be any additional copy that's saying like, join our email list to stay updated. Like people know that already. It's implied. It's 2025. People know what's going on when you enter your email in your pop-up form. So that stuff is just a waste of space. And it's not even like that. It doesn't contribute to your opt-in rate. It actually lowers it because people get scared away with all the text. They don't want to read the whole thing. But when you have like just your offer, then it's like easy. They can read it in half a second. That's good. Number 3. So you need to collect emails only. Okay. No first name, no last name, no birthday. When I say emails only, you can collect SMS as well, but I'm going to explain in a minute how to do that. But no first name, no last names. Emails is a mandatory, SMS if you want to do SMS marketing. Number 4, 1 task per step. So I'm going to show you in a minute all the examples, but let me just explain every single essential. So what it means, basically 1 task per step. If you're collecting emails and SMS, so 4 numbers, you have 1 step, email, then you click CTA, then they can enter SMS, okay? Micro commit. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. Test mystery discount. So mystery discount is something that has been working really well for many e-com brands in the past couple of months. So you're going to test X dollars off versus X% off, and then you can test mystery discount versus the winner of this test. So the thing with Mr. Discount is you're not setting up like a fancy backend or something like that. You're literally just framing it different. Like you can, for example, let's say you're offering 15% off. You can test 15% off versus a Mr. Discount, and you can offer the exact same discount. It's just about how you frame it, right? So this is a very simple test you can perform. Just change the copy on your pop-up. Instead of saying get 10% off, you say get the Mr. Discount, and that's it. And it's probably going to perform better for you. Number 7, time delay. So 4 to 12 seconds is ideally what you're looking for, but to find the exact best time delay, you need to test it, obviously. So why do you need the time delay? Why can't you get pop-up to pop-up immediately? Because people have just entered your website through the ad, most likely, and they're not going to immediately give you their email. They need some time to actually decide whether they're interested in your website or not. Now, when I say they need some time, that doesn't mean like they need half an hour. They need a couple of seconds just to see if they're at least a little bit interested in your brand. So here, examples, bad example. Join our newsletter, subscribe our newsletter. So there's no offer, first, as we can see. Then there's too much copy. The design is too generic, although they're collecting only emails. So that stuff is fine. There is no micro commit, as we said, no offer. Time delay, we don't know that, but I don't know, that doesn't really matter because it's different for different brands. You have to test it, as I said. But here's a good example. So first of all, we have a micro commit step, as I said. So let me explain what that is. So as you can see here, you're just being asked. So you're not even being asked. You're just saying, you're just being told that you got 10% off, 20% off, sorry. There is no input field, as you can see. So let me explain the actual purpose and strategy behind this. So the idea is just to ask people whether they want the discount. So when they say yes, they made a micro commitment, that's why it's called the micro commit step, to themselves that they actually want the discount. And then if they don't actually claim the discount by submitting their email in the next step, I'm going to show you the next step in a minute, they look inconsistent to themselves. And people hate being inconsistent. That's just a cognitive bias we have. So obviously this doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to convert 100% of site visitors and they're all going to give you their email and going to buy right away because they hate looking inconsistent. It just means that it's going to slightly, it's going to be a pretty good boost probably to your opt-in rate. So here we have the step. After this step, when you click sign me up, this pops up. They're collecting emails here. So in this step, we're collecting only the email address, no first names, as you can see, no birthdays, only the email. This is really important because the more work is required from your customer, the lower your opt-in rate will be. Also notice how the copy get 20% off your first order is the same as in the previous step. As you can see, get 20% your first order, get 20% your first order. That's because they want to change as few variables as possible so the experience looks as familiar as possible. Like they want to make the whole transition between the steps as smooth as possible. So let's take these two extremes. Imagine this was the first step, and then the second step, instead of having this like cream color, it was red, the background was red, and here was a completely different picture, and there was some more copy, and the copy here wasn't get 20% off your first order, it was unlock 20% off, and then this button said unlock 20% off, and they were collecting first names. It is a completely different step, right? So the transition is just not smooth. It's like it's going to surprise the customers, but in a negative way. It's just too much friction, right? We want to make the whole experience smooth, okay? And you can see this step, again, the same thing. 20% your first order, same picture. The only thing that's changed is actually the input field. They're collecting phone numbers here. And as you can see, only phone numbers here, only emails here, one thing at a time. Don't try to put both of them in one step. It's going to hurt your conversions, basically. So number 2, flows. Now, flows are basically automated email sequences that people receive when they perform a specific action. So here's some examples. Someone joins your list. That's a welcome flow. So someone joins your list, they get added to the flow, and they receive welcome flows email, okay? Someone leaves a product in the cart. So someone adds something to cart, doesn't purchase, leave the website, they get added to the abandoned cart flow, and they are receiving emails from that flow. So basically, you just have to set these up once, and they'll work without you and make you money. Obviously, this is just level 1. So on advanced levels, what the big brands and agencies are doing, people just don't set it and forget it, okay? We actually run A/B tests on these flows continuously in order to improve them over time. Then, for example, around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we make dedicated flows around that, Christmas flows sometimes, that sort of stuff, okay? So this is just level 1 if you're doing it by yourself, okay? Now, the 8 flows you need. So I'm not going to walk you through the exact strategy with flows we used for this brand, like the exact flow email count in each flow, the exact emails we used, and all of that. I'm just going to give you a little bit more of a broader perspective so you can actually learn how to think about this so you can apply the best strategy to your brand, because the strategy that we used might not be the exact strategy you should use to your brand. So let me explain and learn you how to think about this actually. So welcome flow, 4 to 8 emails it should have. Most brands actually have like 1, 2, maybe 3 emails. That's simply not enough. Like you need to have at least 4 in your welcome flow. Some brands can get away with 8, some brands will need 10. So let me tell you actually the best way to decide how many emails you need in each flow actually, not just welcome flow. So let's say you start with welcome flow, you make 4 emails, okay? If the last email in the flow is still making some good money, then you can add another email. You add another email. If that email is still making good money, you add another email. And you repeat the process until the last email in the flow is not making that much money at all, and then it's not working. It's not worth adding more emails to that flow, right? So you can apply this process to basically any flow here, and it will work really well for you. So abandoned cart, 3+ emails, so at least 3 emails you need. In this flow, you have to add the what is it called? Sorry, dynamic product section. So when someone leaves a product in your cart and doesn't purchase, they're going to receive the email, and the email is going to show them the exact product they left in the cart. Abandoned checkout, again, 3+ emails. So if you're low on time, you can just make these flows the same, completely the same emails, and just change the trigger. So most brands actually have only the abandoned checkout flow and don't have the abandoned cart, and they think they have an abandoned cart flow. But you need to have both, because those are 2 different flows, because the triggers are actually different. So for the abandoned cart flow, the trigger is actually added to cart, right? For the abandoned checkout flow, the trigger is checkout started. So you need both of these flows. But as I said, if you're low on time, you can just completely duplicate this flow, change the trigger, and it's going to be fine. And you don't have to change the sorry, what is it called? Dynamic product section, right? Because it's not the same code for the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout. Now, site abandonment, 1 to 3 emails. So this is basically the flow someone receives when they enter your website but doesn't do anything on it. So they just enter the website, maybe scroll around a little bit, they left the website. So you're trying to convince them to come back to your website and buy something. This flow, again, 1 to 3 emails. Probably if you're like a smaller brand, 1 or 2 emails is going to be just fine. Browse abandonment, 2 to 4 emails. So this is a flow someone receives when they enter your website, they see a specific product, but then they leave. So 2 to 4 emails. As you see, this is a little bit more high intent flow than this one, and these two are more high intent than these two. Basically, they're closer to the purchase in this flow than in this flow, okay? So for these 2 flows, site abandoned and browse abandoned, I have a really great guide on my channel on both of these flows in one video, so you should definitely check that out. It's going to pop up right here. Now, post-purchase flow, really important flow. Again, the last video I made was about post-purchase flow, so check that out for sure. It should have 3 to 5 emails. Why is it so important? Basically, it's going to make the customer feel special. The customer journey is going to be way nicer when you nurture them with a post-purchase flow, and you're going to convince them to buy again, which is going to maximize their LTV, right? So number 7, win-back flow. So this flow is the flow someone receives when they, let's say they bought from you 6 months ago and they haven't bought anything since. You're trying to convince them to buy something again and to like re-engage them, to convince them to become a customer again, basically, okay? Sunset flow, 1 to 2 emails. So this is the flow someone receives when they haven't been engaging with your emails at all, they haven't been opening them or anything like that. So you're trying to re-engage them here, to add them back to your engage list. So this flow is not about making money, it's just about getting the most out of your list before you suppress the list and lower your Klaviyo bill. So this flow, try to re-engage people. If they don't engage, suppress them, because it's going to lower your Klaviyo bill. You have no use of people who aren't opening your emails at all. So as I said, I'm not going to go through each flow one by one and show you how it's done in this video, because it would probably end up like 83 minutes long. And I know you're busy making millions with your eComm brand, but you have the majority of these flows covered on my channel, so you can check them out one by one and implement it in your business, okay? If you want me to create a full tutorial just about flows, like put all of the flows in one video, let me know in the comments, I'll be happy to do that. Now, step 3 are campaigns. So campaigns are basically the other half of this equation. So they're supposed to bring in 40 to 60% of your total email revenue. In some instances, it's like a little bit different of a split, maybe 30-70 between flows and campaigns, but the most healthy setup is basically 40 to 60% is like 40-60 between campaigns and flows, or 50-50, okay? The first thing you need to do in order to be successful with your campaigns is to make a content calendar, actually. If you don't know how to do that, again, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video about it, no problem. But it's super simple. Basically, you just get a calendar of the upcoming month. You plot in all the big events like sales, product launches, product restocks, all of that. Maybe some holidays, like for example, I don't know, like July 4th and all of that. And then you just fill in the rest of the emails that are missing with some educational value providing emails. Let me explain that right now. So how often should you email your list? Well, it depends on the size of your brand, actually, and your audience in general. But here's a general rule of thumb. You can't go too wrong with this. So for smaller brands, up to 50K per month, I do 2 to 3 emails a week. For medium brands, 50 to 250K per month, I do 3 to 4 emails a week. For big brands, 250 to 1 million a month, I do 4 to 5 emails a week. And for huge brands, I do 5 to 6 emails a week. Usually, the smaller the brand, the more limiting beliefs the founder will have around this. So for big brands, they understand that they can send 5 emails a week and they make money, okay? That's the name of the game for them. They understand that unsubscribes are part of the game and they focus on acquiring new subscribers instead. So they are not trying to hold everyone, try to get as little unsubscribe as possible. No, like some people got bored of your product, of your emails. It's fine. Like don't have ego attached to it. It's fine. They maybe don't need your product anymore. Maybe they got the solution. They don't need it anymore. They don't need to be on your email list. Fine, unsubscribe. Like it's better to have people unsubscribe than have people mark you spam, right? But for smaller brands, founders usually have a belief that they don't want to spam and annoy their list. And this is a limiting belief that's limiting your growth. And that is the exact reason they're still a small brand instead of being a big brand, right? So Now, this is not me shitting on you, like, oh, you're a small brand, you don't know what you're doing. No, this is just, I'm just trying to point out the limiting belief you have that's holding you back in order for you to break it and actually move forward and grow your business. Now, I'm not even going to try to explain to you that people receive hundreds of emails per day and that they won't be annoyed when they receive an email from you the third time that week. It's not like you send them 3 emails that day. They're like, whoa, 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 like, calm down, that's too many emails. It's like third time that week. They, for example, do you actually remember the last email you received for some company? You don't, right? Like, you send an email on Wednesday, they probably won't remember that they seen your email on Monday, right? So it's fine. And in fact, they'll probably be even happy to see your emails if you're actually sending some good, high quality content, since most of their inbox is probably trash. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm not going to convince you of this, I just told some facts, okay? I'm just going to tell you that the reason big brands are big is because they have a big list and they're sending a lot of emails, okay? That's the reason they're big. So if they can do it without annoying their list, so can you, okay? What makes you and your customers so special? Nothing, basically. So just follow the frequency for a month. Try this out for a month, this frequency, okay? Try it out for a month and see. If the results were better the way you were doing it, I don't know if you were sending like one email every week or one email every 2-3 weeks, I don't know what you guys are doing. Just try it out for a month. If it doesn't work, fine. Get back to your old habit of sending emails. If it works, like, you have to admit it, right? You'll have to actually implement it in your business constantly. So you'll be probably blown away by the results, but that's just my bias, okay? I might be biased, but it's fine. Because that's how you play this game. Like, you have to advertise your brand, right? People won't just come by themselves and all of a sudden buy your product. You have to hit them up constantly, but you're not going to annoy them. It's fine. As I said, people don't even remember what they were doing yesterday, let alone what email they received from you and when it was. So it's fine. Now, what do you send? So I convinced you that you should be sending more to your list, but you may be asking, like, all right, but what do I actually send? And that's a completely valid question. The answer to that question is that you should be sending mostly educational and value providing emails. But there is a right and wrong way to do it. So wrong way to do this is to send emails that are educating your customer in your product. That's good, fine. But they're too broad and contain too much content. So the problem with this is the fact that customers are opening your emails on the phone when in between different tasks. So 85% of your opens on average is going to come from phone users, okay? So keep that in mind. You have to optimize your emails for phone users. And how someone opens emails on their phone? Well, they do it, for example, they're waiting in the line in the bank, they open your email, check it out, fine. They're going to the toilet, on the way to the toilet, they open your email. So they're not actually reading your emails, they're just skimming it. And that's how you need to make your emails. That's what you need to optimize for, okay? So you can't really send a 1,000-word email and expect people to read it from start to finish. Another problem is also the fact that you'll just run out of content pretty damn fast if you include everything about your product in one email, okay? So what is the solution? Well, the solution is actually pretty simple. You're just sending short micro-topic emails. These emails need to cover a really specific topic and do it briefly. So you're optimizing for the skim, not read. And it's a really easy, digestible topic. They can just open the email while on the way to the toilet. They check out, skim the email, fine, they're done. They might buy the product, they might not, you're good. Now, here's some examples of the micro topics. So myth busting. So bust 2 to 4 myths around your product/industry, or FAQs. So you can answer like 3 FAQs about your product, why we're different. So tell customers what makes you different. Tell them what your USPs are. For example, you can talk about the materials you're using while creating your product, or if you're like a supplement brand, for example, or like food brand, beverage brand, something like that. You can talk about the ingredients you use. You can talk about the behind the scenes, like how your product is made. You can use testimonials all the time. You can find like one big, long, passionate testimonial and create one email just around that testimonial. So as you can see, those are short emails, to the point, straightforward. They're easy to skim. You're not asking customers to actually read a whole novel. Just, short email on the way to the toilet. They check it. If they capture their interest, they want to buy, they buy. Some people won't. It's fine. So in this way, you basically never run out of content. You always have something to send. So here's some good examples. Now, Armra is one of my favorite brands when it comes to email marketing. But as you will see, their emails are probably a little bit too long. But it's probably what's working with their customer. I just wanted to give you that perspective as well. And then we have Joy here. They have a really short email, as you can see. You'll see actually the whole thing. Now, Armra, so short headline, to the point, redefine recovery. It's pretty straightforward. A nice, clean, high quality hero image and a CTA. That's it. That's their hero section. This is above the fold. So what that means is when I open an email on my phone, I can see this button immediately without needing to scroll. So I can just click it immediately, buy, okay? Hero section. As you can see here, muscle is more than macro. So you can see discounts, you can see urgency, you can see scarcity, you can see only pure education. So here, they're educating their customers on muscle and building muscle, training, all that stuff. So here we have a infographic. So infographics are a really good way to make your emails more skimmable. So what you would convey with all of this text, you could probably convey with something like this, where you actually use icons and like checklist bullet points instead of like words and blocks of text. But as I said, for most brands, this won't work, but for Armra, this works, and especially because their content is probably really high quality in terms of like the info they're giving away and all that stuff. Here they promote a little bit of their product. Again, another infographic educating the customer. So 20% increase in fitness, strength, stamina, and endurance, 50% increase in recovery time. Really short, as you can see, you can skim this. That's it, CTA. And then this is a really good technique you can use in your email. So basically, this is a list, as you can see. So big headline, big headline, big headline. So for those people who want to skim, read this, read this, read this. But for those people who want to read a little bit more in depth, they have this. You don't have to read this to get the actual concept, but if you're interested, you can. This is a really good concept, a really good technique you can use in your emails. It's going to make a really huge difference. And then they're promoting products again, and that's it. As you can see, this email is a little bit too long, in my opinion, but it's probably working for their customers, otherwise they wouldn't be sending it, and it's probably just because they have really high quality content. They're really giving a lot of good information, but you're probably going to want to go for something like this. So, as you can see, headline, CTA, above the fold, immediately in your face, no like overcomplicating things, fuel and indulge, like 2 words, and that's it, that's their headline. Shop joy, that's their CTA, immediately at the start of the email. Then we have a really nice high quality hero image. Then we have some body copy. So this is literally just on that threshold of being too long. This is probably just enough. Anything more than this would probably be too much because people won't read the whole thing. This is enough. And then, as you can see, no discounts, no urgency, no scarcity, no sales, nothing. What they're doing in this email is they're literally giving people a recipe for making a mango cherry smoothie or Dubai chocolate latte. So the reason they're doing this is not because it's a random reason, because they're actually selling an oat milk, if I'm not mistaken, and almond milk and stuff like that. So basically plant-based milk. And they're including their milk in this recipe, and they're saying like, hey, you can make this at home, but you can also use our product to make it, right? You don't have to, but if you want to, and if you like our company and our product, you can do that. They're actually giving value to people. So when you open this email, you're like, okay, this is actually pretty useful. I'd like to keep opening emails from this company, and they're building trust, they're nurturing people, and at some point, people are going to buy from them. So here, as you can see, they're pitching some of their new products, and they have CTA. So pretty short email, not many words, as you can see. Pretty short recipes, but it's actionable, it's good. So this is the kind of emails you want, okay? So if you want to start taking your email marketing seriously, first link in the description, claim your free eComm email marketing guide completely for free. You can just get it. You're going to learn a lot from me and from that guide, okay, that you can implement in your business and grow your eComm brand. Second link in the description, book a call with me. I'll perform a full Klaviyo account audit completely for free. So worst case scenario, you leave the call knowing what you need to fix in your email marketing system. Best case scenario, we decided we're a good fit for each other. So we work with you to help you scale your email marketing. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.